Boys and girls, we have the one, the only Dom C live from the Senior Bowl, rocking some nice Talkin' Jets merch down there. Dom, how you doing?
What's up, boys? I'm doing well. Yourselves? Nice to see everyone, man.
We're
Oh, you
hanging
got
in
a
there. We're
haircut?
excited about the coaching staff. We're excited about who we could potentially bring for the OC. But we want to hear from you. You're in person down there at the Senior Bowl. We've got a few favorites, players that we like, that are down there. So I want to hear from you. Anyone that's shining, any stories that you can tell, who won the pillow fight between you and Jeremy. I just got to hear it all.
Well, first off, I want to talk about this Buc-ee's thing because we were on a major highway, and Jeremy, like one of those pigeons or something like that. He caught a scent, or like a honey pigeon. He saw it, and it was so far away, like off like 14 other roads. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting off the highway. We're going straight. We're going here. So I didn't force him not to go, but if we had passed it, I would have went. Don't worry. He Uber Eats. He dialed in Uber Eats today to get Crystal, that hamburger place.
Yeah, it's like White Castle Light.
Yeah. But he had to try it, so he did that, guys. So don't worry, Jeremy's still getting his food fix. No, man. Hey, listen, day one is always fun. It's always exciting. A lot of buzz around, and there's guys that show out, and there's guys that just kind of fly under the radar. And if you've been anywhere near social media today, you probably know a bunch of the names already. I'm not saying anything that's really that original. I'll give you my thoughts. I thought probably the single best player from the national practice, which was first, was North Dakota State offensive lineman 𝐀𝐮𝐫𝐚. Zabel was, he was a tackle in college, long, tall, a little bit lanky, in the words of Green Bean, he lacks a little bit in the leg and the ass, you know what I mean? But he came into camp, his official measurements were a little bit higher. I think he was about 315. He's about 6'6", 6'7", 315. So a little bit better. But man, let me tell you, they played him up and down the line, primarily inside, and even better is he was the national team starting center, and the guy just did not lose a rep. It didn't matter if it was the 1v1s, it didn't matter if it was the 11v11s. Everything he did, he dominated it. I mean, there's no other guy in this, at least through day one, whose stock has skyrocketed like 𝐀𝐮𝐫𝐚. So he's he was a real big winner of day one. Another guy that I thought that personally I really liked was the safety out of Virginia, Jonas Sanker. Safeties again, they don't for those guys. Green Bean's been here. Matt and Ryan, you've probably watched enough or know enough. Like, they don't really get a chance to shine. Yeah, they might be able to get a pick here and there in the 7v7s or the 11v11s or so on and so forth. But for a guy who I thought was going to be a primarily kind of like a box safety, he showed out like short area quickness, athleticism, the way he can just flip his hips and run. I mean, he physically. He was probably one of the most impressive guys on the field. I think, all out of all the defensive backs. Azariah Thomas, another guy out of Florida State, I thought played pretty well. He got beat on a couple reps, which is going to happen, but you can tell that he's a guy that's going to that's going to be a player in the NFL. Makeup speed, the way he clicks and closes. Everything that you want to see out of a starting cornerback. So those are three guys from the first practice. Second practice, Miles Frazier. I had a chance. I got on the field. One of the interviews that I did. The guy's put together, physically dominating. I loved his film. He's been one of my favorites all through the fall. He's a top 50 player for me, without a doubt. I think he's strong. I think he moves well for a guy who's 330 pounds. Strong hands, latches on. finishes his blocks. You know, he's got a little bit of that nasty, and he's well put together. He's well thought out. You know, came from a really good program. He's a Jersey boy, which I came to find out as well, from South Jersey. So, yeah, all that. I mean, off the top of my head, I think those are, you know, a lot of the guys that stuck out for me.
Now, before I get into my next question, I just want to recognize Sam Aiken joining the OnlyFans and then also gifting 5 Talkin' Jets memberships to the OnlyFans. Thank you, Sam, so much. I see Swamp Ranger, Ryan Rivera, JV Free, Jets, Paulie, and Sharon McLean all gifted memberships courtesy of Sam Aiken. So you are a stud, my friend. Thank you so much. Boys and girls, drop those new JETS emojis in the chat. Dom, I want to ask you, the quarterbacks, Jackson Dart's down there, Jalen Milroe, any thoughts on the quarterback crew so far through a day of practice?
Yeah, very uninspiring, to be honest with you. It's day one, you know, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But, you know, Jalen Milroe didn't look very well. I thought Dylan Gabriel was okay, you know, but he comes with a lot of limitations. You know, he's 5'10", and he's a lefty. You know, but he throws a really nice ball. He threw a couple really, really pretty deep balls. I'm sure you guys have seen the clips if you haven't by now. You know, Tyler Shuck, who's a 25-year-old quarterback out of Louisville, I thought he was the best quarterback in the early session. Jackson Dart, man, I'm not going to talk bad about anybody, but I didn't think that he was very impressive. A lot of the concerns I have on him with his mechanics and his footwork, you know, all that came to light today. You know, they put him in motion a lot, try to maybe showcase some of that athleticism that he has. And I thought that, you know, it just kind of brewed more inaccuracies. Some people thought that Dart was the best quarterback there today. I don't necessarily agree, but everyone sees things differently. So the quarterbacks weren't, you know, really, really great. The kid, Seth Hennigan from Memphis, who was a Shrine Bowl guy that got bumped up to the Senior Bowl once Cam Ward backed out and Will Howard backed out. I thought he played okay. I thought he looked okay, but you know he's of a completely different level and a different tier than some of these guys. So the quarterbacks, you hope that tomorrow they turn it on or step it up. Again, a lot of them haven't thrown in a while. New receivers, new system, a lot of pressure. Everyone's eyes on them. So they always tend to struggle early on. We'll see what happens the next couple of days.
I don't know. You mentioned the Shrine Bowl. For those of you guys that don't know, the East-West Shrine Bowl is going on right now, or is, I guess, finishing up, or they're doing practices, whatever. I have heard some good things about McCord, the quarterback from Syracuse. Have you watched anything from the Shrine Bowl, or can you provide any insight on maybe any of those guys quarterback wise? That could
you know, I just hear bits and pieces. I have the video access to all the Shrine Bowl practices. Full disclosure, I haven't just had a chance to get into them, which is what I'll probably do when I get back. I just want to go through that. But he hasn't been a name that was brought up. Not to say that he didn't play well or anything like that. There was a lot of defensive guys that, from what I understood, stood out there. A lot of buzz of some of the defensive backs. Kobe Bryant, the cornerback from Kansas, supposedly played very well. The defensive back from LSU, what is his name? Zy Alexander. He's another one who also played very well, from what I understand. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about the quarterbacks. I haven't heard anything about McCord. And I heard that Shedeur didn't do anything but show up and interview.
Bean, Matt, any of you guys have questions for Dom as they relate to the Senior Bowl? We'll go
Matt, if I may, real quick. I just have a short one for Dom. Has Jeremy professed his love to anybody yet?
No one, not yet. He was very excited when we spoke, when we got on the field and had a chance to speak to Miles Frazier, because Jeremy and I spent, probably an hour and a half the other day just breaking down some offensive lineman film. You know, he was inquisitive. I was showing him what I look at and how I watch it. So we watched it together, and he grew a strong affinity towards the player as well. So he was like a kid in a candy store when we were able to grab him on the field and talk to him for a few minutes.
Nice. Yeah, I know. It really is cool when you can just grab a player. Like right now, they're not yet NFL stars, but you know they very well could be in a few minutes. You know, it's neat. Like I still, I look back. I was watching Steve Avila play in the playoffs, and I was watching him, and I'm like, yeah, man, me and Dom like hung out with that guy. You know, just chit chatting. It's just so cool. But yeah, anyway, that's how about real quick? How about the kickers? Caden Davis, any thoughts?
No. You know, whoever, there was one kicker. I shouldn't say that. There was one punter who was first time for everything, I guess. 2 punts that he had in the special teams went into the stands. So don't know if he's going to get getting an NFL contract anytime soon. I don't know his name, so I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. Interesting though, one thing I thought of defensive tackles as I'm here looking at Green Bean on the big monitor. So I did, and I posted it on Twitter. If you guys saw it, I had an interview with Florida State tackle Joshua Farmer. And
I saw
not that I don't say this with any like, you know, my nose pointed up or any bragging, but he actually came to me. Ooh. He pointed, you know, we were happened to be standing in the area, and he looked at me and he's like, "Hey, talking Jets." I said, "Yeah." He's like, "You know what?" He said, "You know what?" He's like, "I'll play wherever, you know, I'll play in the NFL, whatever team taking me. But if I had my druthers, that's where I want to be. I want to be with the Jets."
Ooh,
yeah.
I like
so
that.
We had a good time. We talked for like those sessions are real short, 10, 15 minutes. He and I talked for like 7 minutes, and I was like, shit, I got to get this on video, you know? And so I recorded a quick little interview with him, but man, he was, and he was good too. He was real good, a little undersized, but you know, strong as a bull. He did great in the 1v1s. It's interesting that you don't hear that too much. He's like, listen, he's like, I know that team. He's like, first off, Jermaine Johnson's one of my best friends from Florida State. I want to play next to him. And he's like, I couldn't think of a better situation to play between him and Quinnen Williams.
Hell yeah.
Pretty cool.
That, you know what?
I love it.
What round is he supposed to go in? Do we know like a rough idea?
It's so hard to determine that right now.
We talking day 3? We talking day 2?
Yeah, I have him day 3. I have him with a mid day 3 grade, a 5th round grade. You know, I also have him a little bigger than he weighed in. Like I have the official weigh-ins where it's a little bit lighter, but I have him at 6'3.5", 318. I don't think he was that big.
Well, Dom, I'm going to have him in every single one of my mock drafts from here on out.
That's right.
So just be aware. Matt.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Dom what he thought about the tight ends, because I think that's a big position of need for the Jets. And I know I always get asked about which tight end we like.
Yeah.
Fanning,
so
baby.
If we're going to talk about tight ends, I think there were 2 that really stood out, but one way above the other. I thought the 2 that stood out to me were Terrence Ferguson, the tight end from Oregon, and Elijah Arroyo from Miami. And Arroyo was head and shoulders the best on the field today. Just crisp with his roots. Nobody could cover him. Safeties, linebackers. No one could cover him. Just his route running. He got in and out of his breaks very well. Very nuanced in how he set up his route running. He did this little stick, nod, and go where, you know, he runs like a little hitch and kind of like, you know, kind of bites it and then takes it up deep. He had a really nice juke move on a long crossing route across the field that Dylan Gabriel threw a beautiful ball, play action across his body, threw a beautiful ball, and Arroyo just dropped it. It should have been a touchdown, but yeah, he was the talk of the town there. I thought Terrence Ferguson, who's a big guy as well, he's 6'5.5", 260 pounds. I thought he moved very, very well. That was exciting to see because I think he's a guy that, and I hate to use this as a comp because I think it's way too early to comp guys to NFL players, but he had a little George Kittle, and he had a little bit of George Kittle in his film for me. Like you could tell that he gets at it when he blocks and as an inline blocker, but then he showed a little bit of that, a little bit of that ability in the pass, in the receiving aspect of it, just like Kittle. He knows how to get open. He knew how to, kind of weave his way between the linebackers and safety, find the soft spots. Quarterbacks were able to layer throws from him. So Terrence Ferguson was impressive. Elijah Arroyo was the cream of the crop today for sure.
What's up, guys? Matt O'Leary from Talkin' Jets. If you liked that video, please make sure to subscribe and follow for more New York Jets content.